Welcome. This is David Shea, and this is another Shay's Insights video. Now today's video is titled Energetic Scholarship. I may change my mind and call it Energetic Future Scholarship, but the idea is the same. And I'll try to keep this relatively brief because much of the information is available on our website. With that, the first thing we need to talk about are spirit attributes. And those are the energetic threads of our being, the different types of energies that literally make up who we are as a being. And there's millions, if not billions of them. And collectively, all these different energies determine the kinds of things that happen in our life. The unfoldment of our life path, if you will. They also determine our energetic connections. And I often talk about that. So I'm going to do a quick review on that. Because of the high frequency inpouring energies that are happening upon the planet, this process has been accelerated. All of us, and especially those on the committed spiritual path, are routinely letting go of old grounding connections, and those are ones to Mother Earth, to people, places, things. I just call them generally grounding connections. The old ones are being released and new ones are being made that reflect the nature of our new state of our being. The same thing happens with, we have energetic threads, connections to the etheric realm, to our high self, to our guides, the angels, the divine, which is our shorthand to any aspect of God, and each of us has a unique and personal connection with the divine, and we also have different names for it because of our, religious or faith-based connection. But whatever it is for us, it's unique. Now, these energetic connections, people talk about them all the time, and wonderful things happen. We get downloads. People talk about getting their downloads, and it could be something as simple as some immediate information in the moment that they're answering for someone else. Perhaps something as practical as how to make a particular recipe. They're making food, and they suddenly now know how to make the chocolate cake the way they need to make it. Or we can get a lot of very much spiritual information. One of the examples I have in my own life, and I think I've mentioned it before, when I was 18, I woke up one morning and suddenly knew all kinds of things about chakras. And now I knew about chakras before, but the next morning I woke up and I had extensive and in-depth knowledge about chakras, meridians, and chakra systems. And I could do such things as set people's blood pressure using the chakra system. It was a very practical thing. But again, this was a download that happened, you could say, a medium-sized one. It was pretty significant. We also hear our guidance that way. Some people hear it, clairaudience, know it, clairvoyance, clairsentience, and the highest one is, of course, the knowing. Of the sixth sense, if we were to call it that, knowing is the highest one. It's because it's pure, it doesn't require any other vehicle of communication, we just suddenly know within our being. But however we get it, usually most of us get a mix of those things. And that guidance, again, happens, and the unfoldment of our life is a product, you could say, of all these energetic connections, both in our personal lives, our spiritual lives, our work life, the kind of things that come in as knowledge, all happen as a consequence of these energetic connections. And these are the active ones that are happening to us now. So we have these connections, the energies coming in, they're crystallizing into our being. We're expanding our use of it and growing in it actively right now. Those are the active connections. Now I do want to add one more thing about downloads. They can be really huge, and we've seen people out there who had monumental, or if we want to call them downloads, I'm going to call them deluges, and I had one of these happen to me, where they suddenly know all kinds of things, and they go out and they start doing their spiritual work in a very big way. And we've all seen who they are out there in the spiritual arena. So it can happen in small doses or in huge ones. I had mine happen when I wrote The Creation of the Universe, which is an appendix in my book. Now, just so everyone knows, I did my best to try to talk the Father out of making me write that chapter. Because initially it seemed like it was going to come through, it was going to be a very easy chapter to write. But it was the last one, and it turned out to be the most challenging because of the detail and just the depth of knowledge that came through. Because it's literally about creation of the universe, Big Bang and all that. And about halfway through writing the chapter, I suddenly had this, I'm going to call it a deluge download. I knew all kinds of things about physics, theoretical math, chaos theory. I had, in my visual field as it started coming in, I started seeing chemical symbols and, like the E equals MC squared and long calculus like derivatives and integrals and all kinds of symbolized systems of the kind of information that was coming in. And I knew that at the time that if I allowed this to complete, that my chapter, which is, I don't know, 32 to 34 pages long, would end up being 450 to 500 pages. So my point being is that these things, these downloads, this learning that we get can come in little ways or it can come in huge ways for each of us. And it just depends on where we're at in our life and what happens. What I haven't talked about actively, except during the monthly meditations in the in-person ones, as well as during our seminars, is we have this evolving learning, this tacit awareness that of a connection. It's kind of like a bow wave in front of a ship. If this is a ship, in front of the ship, it's literally pushing the water. It's kind of a wave before the waves. Dolphins love them. They love to get in front of the bow wave. They just, I don't know why, but they love it. But we have the same sort of thing, with our active awareness. So we have the active connections, which is the learning and the learning guidance and all those things that are happening, coming into us now as part of our life, both spiritual and otherwise. We also have these tacit connections that are part of our awareness that isn't quite ready to connect yet, but there it is. And that is what I mean by future scholarship. Because the minute we have an active connection, whatever active connection, just say it just happened today. The minute that happens, the moment that happens, you have a tacit bow wave connecting us to the next learning that's going to follow. Now that learning can have multiple parts to it. And so if we are on this path and there's choices later, they're going to queue us up for all the possible choices. And then when we make the decision, when the unfoldment in our life, the decision happens, we'll be connected with those energies and those will come down. But it's like having a full ride scholarship to the next class, being paid for it, and we're all signed up. So as part of our active connections, we can have these bow waves, and they're sometimes 1, 2, 3 deep, and I see them again during energetic sessions. During our spiritual quickening sessions, which is our combined energetic and sound showers, and Deborah sees them too. It's all happens the same way. So during the sessions, when we're working on people, these energetic connections will be suddenly, their higher guidance will create new connections, and then I'll watch these bow waves of new connections. I call it queuing up learning for us. And being aware of this can be such a benefit to us. Just like the difference between attending college and just doing things as we have to, and someone who's actively pursuing their college and learning, and they finish the course, let's say, ahead of time, and they're already starting on the next class, even though it's not going to start for another 3 or 4 weeks. They're already reading the books. The same thing happens to us if we're aware of the active connections and we're aware of the new ones queuing up. It opens us up to faster learning, as we call it, spiritual quickening. So I thought I would share that because I don't talk about it often except with small groups, and it just seemed like something that people should know about. It came to me yesterday on a road trip that this is something that the divine in the universe wants people to know about, because at the accelerated rate that is happening with the incoming energies and the unfoldment and the evolvement that we're all going through, having this awareness can make it go that much smoother. So I hope this was of benefit for you, and that you have a wonderful day. Blessings, light, and love. And until next time, namaste.